Welcome. I'm Allison Bonilla at Allison B Coaching. Today we're going to talk about how to bring value to your client. And as you will note in the title, value is presented as an acronym. We're going to be looking at each of the letters V.A.L.U.E and use them in the exploration of how value can be added to your client through your services or your products. Let's explore the first letter of value, and that is the V. The V stands for vision identification. This is where you explore with the client what exactly is the vision that they have. Whether it be a service or product, it starts with a vision. Your clients may come to you in various stages of the completion of the project or the product or the service. They may have a service, but they don't have clients. They may have written a book, but it's not yet published. They may have a product and it is in different phases of development. And I think where a lot of us go wrong when we're trying to work with a client is we ask them what is it that they want, and they'll say things like, "Well, I need more clients, or I need more sales, or uh, I need something for my product to get it on the shelves." And those are very concrete goals. However, I think we need to do a little bit better in identifying the vision, because the vision isn't just about the sales. The vision isn't just about the service. The vision is about what it means for them and what it means for their family and the people who've supported them. Take a moment and explore that. The next letter is the A, assessment that is ongoing so that greater clarity can be achieved. Why do we say assessment that is ongoing? Didn't we do an initial assessment in the V, the vision identification? Well, that was an initial assessment. And you're going to continue to do that all throughout your contact with your client. A common mistake is to do that initial assessment and to think assessment no longer needs to be done. We've identified the vision with the client. We kind of know where they're trying to end up. We've explored with them what it means for them. The thing about vision is that it expands and sometimes it contracts a little bit depending on situations and circumstances. As the client is moving along with their service or their product, they will hit challenges, they will hit obstacles, they will gain insights. Sometimes they will find out that what they were pursuing is not ideally what they actually want, and they'll need to revise their vision. That's okay, but you won't find out about that unless you continue to do an ongoing assessment. I've had clients in the past who've shared with me that they had a certain vision, but as they were pursuing that vision, they realized that it was incomplete. And they saw that they should have been looking at some other aspects to that vision. So the product that was so important no longer is as important as maybe just being able to work through some systems that were particularly challenging for them. And once they mastered those systems, they realized that how they could use that skill to pursue other avenues that don't 100% align with the production of that product. But that gave them greater satisfaction. So keep in mind that as you're working with your clients, they are going to need to reiterate that vision, and don't be upset or shocked, or don't be so rigid that if it changes that you feel like you need to kind of pull them back to what it originally was. There's a natural growth and there's a natural progression, but you will not be able to track with that unless you do some ongoing assessments. It's very important that you do ongoing assessments with your client as you work with them as they move forward in their vision of their product, their service. And also, as a work-life balance coach, I also look at how it relates to their personal life. It's not always about the business. Sometimes it's also about what's going on in their personal life. And you won't know that if you don't do an ongoing assessment. We're now going to tackle the L. The L is leadership, leadership and guidance as your clients try out new behaviors or new mindsets. They're not coming to you for you to tell them what they already know. They're coming to you to hear a different perspective. They're coming to you because they view you as an expert, as an authority, as a voice of reason. You're not always going to say the thing that your client wants to hear. But guess what? They do want to hear it from you. They want to hear the honest truth. They don't want you to beat around the bush. They want to know if you think they're going to be able to do whatever it is they're trying to do in the way and the manner that they're trying to do it and receive the outcome that they expect. And there are times when you're not going to be in agreement with your client about the way they see things or the way they see outcomes or anticipate outcomes. It's important that you share that with them very honestly. And that's a position of leadership. Now, here's the thing about it. You may lead, but your client may not always want to follow. Does that stop you from being a leader? Or does that mean that you're really not a leader? Not at all. A good leader respects the autonomy of those who are following them. A good leader outlines the challenges, the obstacles, the dangers, but also says to those who are, especially if they're paying them to present expert opinions and different things, they are, this is their, at the end of the day, this is their business, their consequences, their families. All you could do is present options for them to be successful as you're aware of it. There's the old saying that you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. And that is true in working with clients also. There are times I have shared a perspective or I've shared some knowledge, and I've said to my client, I believe that by doing A, you'll get this result, and by doing B, you'll get that result. And they have picked the A or the B, the one that I thought would not be the best one. But I wish them well anyhow. And I say, okay, well, go ahead and try that out, see how it works. The only caveat is as long as it's not illegal or in any way something that's going to hurt themselves or hurt somebody else, they are entitled to try out different things. And I've had clients who've tried things in ways that are different than I have kind of guided them, and it's turned out okay. And I've had clients who've come back to me and said, I should have done it the way you suggested. That's fine too. So we want to be able to be supportive of them in either regard. Like I said, I'm not supporting a client to do something illegal or something that would hurt them or hurt someone else. But it again, the consequences are theirs, positive or negative. So we can lead, we can speak up with some level of authority. Otherwise, why is our client even paying us if we're not going to speak up with authority? Leadership doesn't mean that you are a cheerleader on the side, just cheering them on with whatever idea pops into their brain. You're going to be there to help them explore those ideas in a way that makes sense. If I have a client who is struggling with something in their personal life, maybe relationally, I'm going to be able to present some perspective and I'm going to be able to present some ideas that come from expert knowledge, people of knowledge who've maybe written on the subject or who I've learned from on that subject. So I'm going to give that to them, but they're not obligated to follow and take that advice. So leadership and guidance is important. And at the end of the day, that's another level that clients will assess when they're thinking about did they receive value. And again, they receive value whether they took your advice or not, because you did open up a perspective to them. They just chose not to take that perspective and run with it. U is for unique strategies that rely on personal goals of the client. This is where we're kind of knitting all of it together. Remember, I said you need to identify the client's vision, then you need to do ongoing assessment throughout the whole process of working together. Then you need to lead by presenting expert knowledge to the client. You should have something that you should be working from that's not just an idea that you came up with. The U is to introduce also some unique perspectives. I'm so delighted that sometimes when I work with clients, together we come up with something that didn't come out of a book, that didn't come from someplace else. It's not part of my expert base of knowledge that I've gleaned over the years through either experience or through research or reading or maybe a webinar. It's something that's unique, very unique, that could only work with this client in this particular situation. It is a delightful confluence of things when together the client and I come up with a unique strategy and they are able to try it out. They're able to utilize it in some way that, it's not global. It's something that's really uniquely for them. This can only happen if you really know your client well and you really know their goals well. And you also know the unique challenges that are in their world. So, unique only comes from really having a strong knowledge of your client. And for that, you can't just be in and out. You really have to, when you're with your client, sit down and really ask good, meaningful questions. Don't take anything at face value. And then come up with some strategies that are not boilerplate strategies that anyone could give them in any YouTube video or any webinar. That is the beauty of having a professional life strategist or personal coach. Think about if somebody goes to the gym and everybody says, well, do 10 sit ups, do 5 pull ups, and do, you know, I don't know, 5 burpees. And if everybody gets that, why would you hire a personal trainer to train you? You would just go to the gym and that's what you do at the gym, right? No, but when you go to a personal trainer, the trainer looks at your situation, looks at your health, looks at where it is that you are at with regards to your physical abilities and may modify that and may say, okay, for you, this is what we're going to do. We're not doing any burpees, at least not right now. We're going to be doing this and we're going to be doing that, more of this, less of that, none of the other. And that's going to be a unique strategy just for you. And that is also where your client will see value. They will see value because they know that you've constructed something that can only be used by them because you're taking into consideration their situation. And that brings us to E, excellence in service to the client. Now you may say, well, that's a no-brainer, Allison. Of course I'm going to be excellent in servicing my client. It matters how we define excellence. I have a client who, when she calls me, I'm always delighted to hear her voice, even though I know she might be calling me with a challenge or an issue or something that she's facing. I'm never frustrated with her because I understand that she's growing and she's doing the best she can. And some days she just needs a little bit of encouragement to keep going. And other days she needs really concrete help to navigate some systems that she's struggling with. Either I could help her with them or I could point her in the right direction to get the help that she needs. Excellence in service means that you have to understand that your clients are coming to you with needs. In other words, why are you getting paid if you are frustrated that your clients have needs? Excellence in service means that you have an attitude of a helper. You have an attitude of someone who is delighted to be a resource for your clients. I've seen people get frustrated when clients don't move far fast enough or further along. Your clients will move at the pace that they're able to move at. And if you get frustrated and you try to push them and you call that excellence in service, you will find at the end of the day that you will not have a satisfied client or customer. They will feel that you might have given them so much information, but they weren't able to glean from it what they needed. So then for them, there's no value. I once attended a webinar to learn a certain product that I was excited to learn. And at the end of the product, when I got the evaluate, at the end of the webinar, when I got the survey and they asked about the value of it to me, I had to put like 0. Why? Because it was like drinking out of a fire hose. I couldn't take in as much as the person was putting out. It was too much too fast. And there was no option for me to slow down and really sit and ponder some of what the expert was saying. Was the expert filled with knowledge? Yes. But was it contained in a format that I could really glean from it what I needed to glean? No, it wasn't. So there was no value for me. Was there excellence in service to me, the client at that time? I would have to say no, because it should have that webinar should have taken into consideration that there were people like me in that class, in that webinar, and it really catered only to people who would really understand all of the vernacular and the dialogue and that was going on. So you could say that, well, Allison, you just picked the wrong webinar. Well, here's the thing, the webinar was advertised in such a way that people like me did show up. And I could see that there would be other people in there like myself trying to learn this uh, product, walking away feeling equally frustrated. So when we are talking about excellence in service, consider where your client is at more than where you're at. And also, and always try to match the client in terms of their knowledge base. So that means that they may go slower. Introduce new thoughts, new ideas, challenges, mindset shifts to them, but understand that they could only go as fast as they can go. And that's how they will feel like you're providing excellence in service to them. So now for a quick recap. Values: vision identification, assessment, leadership and guidance, unique strategies, and excellence in service. Can you recall what the vision identification entails? Is it just having the client say to you, this is what I want to accomplish, this is why I'm hiring you? Or is it more? Take a moment to think about that. When you meet with your client, how are you identifying their vision? What kind of questions are you going to ask them that's going to allow them to share with you their why and their goals? Assessment: is it a one-time thing or is it an ongoing? Remember, at the end of the day, you want your client to say they received great value in working with you. In your engagement with your clients or your customers, are you a leader? Are you guiding them? Are you presenting to them new behaviors and new mindsets and encouraging them to try those things out? If you meet resistance, does it mean you failed as a leader? Does it mean that you don't guide any longer? How can you present unique strategies to your client? Do you know them well enough? Do you know their personal goals well enough so that you could together create unique strategies? Are you respecting your client's pace? Are you providing excellent service through recognizing what they can do in the time that they can do with the resources that they can do it with? And do you value them? Are you delighted to work with them? Or do they just frustrate you when they're not able to move along as fast as you'd like them to? Excellence in service requires that you track with them and pace with them and accompany them on their journey. It's not your journey, it's their journey. And you are just blessed to be able to engage with them at this phase of it. We're now at the end of this presentation. My goal and my hope in this presentation is that you will operate with the V.A.L.U.E construct as you continue to work with your clients and customers. Because at the end of the day, we do want them to report that they receive great value from their time spent with you, your product, or your services. V.A.L.U.E is a good way to ensure that you would get a positive feedback if you present them with a survey at the end of their time spent with you. Any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. Looking forward to talking to you again in another presentation. Thank you for joining me for this presentation. This is Allison Bonelli, a professional life strategist, inviting you to dream big, set goals, and take action.